Hypercar Mountain.
Hi, this is Larry Hatch for another exciting episode of Hypercar Mountain. And I'm starting a new series this week that'll continue into 2022. And it's called New Treasures from Hypercar Mountain. Now, I've done a lot of videos on my new accessions for the elite of the elite diecast collection. By the way, some of you don't know me. I have had over 4,000 diecast cars over the years. Trimmed it down to about 2,800. But I'm building an elite collection called Hypercar Mountain, which focuses on hypercars, supercars, luxury cars, and premium cars in the real world. Nothing fantasy, all real cars. And the best examples I can get of each, or at least that I can afford. And the finest made products from any and every brand, but only in the 1/64 scale. So this series is going to be a little different. In the past, I've kind of rambled on a long time about the real cars, but a lot of you like that history. You know, what are the different Porsche 911 turbo versions? You know, how are the Pagani's different? That kind of thing. So I'm going to try to combine that and be briefer. So I'm going to show the real car and then talk just a few minutes about I'm going to talk a few minutes about the diecast car and a few minutes about the real car. So we'll sort of combine the best of the past, but hopefully keep it down shorter. So without further ado, I'm going to start with this beautiful Chinese-made DCM brand Rolls-Royce Phantom 6. They made the Phantoms from 1968 to 1990. Of course, the 90s and 80s version had a different, more modern body. This is the body from approximately 1968 to 70 range. If you wanted to do a diorama of the crown or any British royalty, this would be the car, the diecast car to use for that. This beautiful Phantom VI, or 6, is a very rare car. Only 374 were ever made, and they're basically, to put it shortly, it's basically a Silver Shadow body, whatever the current Silver Shadow was at the time, and they stretched it into a limousine form using the coachwork builder Mulliner Park Ward, which is famous for building Rolls Royces. And if you know anything about the famous Rolls Royces and Bentleys, and actually the really elite cars in the past, you know, like Duesenberg or even Mercedes, they didn't build the coaches. They built the engine and the chassis, and they had the coach builders customize the top, but they would usually standardize it. So Mulliner Park Ward built these stretch Phantom limos, and this was the last Rolls-Royce with a so-called separate chassis. It had coil springs in the front, leaf springs in the back, a live axle, drum brakes on all four wheels, and it had a 380 cubic inch V8 engine, and with twin carburetors, and that was something pretty good in that day. Of course, later on they improved the engines considerably as the base Silver Shadow that it stretched from was improved, and later on those were some pretty good engines, not the sloth engines of the past. These are basically royal cars. As I understand it, anybody could buy one who could afford it. It was replaced by the Silver Spur Touring Limo. But if you see a lot of royal footage from England and even other countries, you will see the Queen and members of the royal family, at least for formal events, riding in a car similar to this. The Queen's Silver Jubilee car was a variant of this, with a kind of a high roof and big windows. And the Phantom 6 would be a regular car, around Windsor Castle. I see here from my research that the Shah of Iran had one. So did the Sultan of Brunei. So they were pretty much very expensive Rolls Royces. hand-built limos, and I was really glad to get this one in the 1/64 diecast scale. And I just want to say a quick word. This car I bought from minicarsworld.com on eBay. They have almost 3,000 positive stars, 99.7% positive. I know some people are apprehensive to buy diecast cars from China, but they arrive very cheaply. Certainly lower than most American dealers will sell them for once they've been imported. They often come with free shipping. This Rolls Royce was only $29. I've seen some for $26 now, but I kind of ordered it early and have had it about a month. I know they're taking orders for January and February now. Some of these DCM cars and other of these specialized Chinese cars are very hard to get once they sell out, or at least in the color you want. I wanted this, black, because that was kind of the official color of royalty around the world. It says it's made from 999 pieces, and I can believe that. There is so much plastic chrome on this thing, so much detail. It's just a remarkable example, and one I highly, highly, highly recommend to everybody. Our next car, I think I've lost my place here. Our next car is a Paragon, and again, I recommended Paragon as a kind of newer premium brand in the diecast 1/64 world. They make some great, particularly German cars. This is the BMW M3G80 in a beautiful color called Isle of Man Green. And some of you may have heard of the BMW M3 and Isle of Man Green from the YouTube sensation and supercar influencer Shmee 150, and of the Shmee Museum. I never get that right. Shmee 150. And this car, he bought the M3 Competizione, or Competition, as they say in other countries, in this same color. And I was like, hey, I got a Shmee car right here. And by the way, Shmee is selling more of his cars in 1/64, but we'll get to that a little bit later. I've already got his Ford GT in 187, which is really cool. I'll have to show that sometime. But anyway, this is the probably the best BMW sedan for speed. That's not a track version. I've tried to figure out if the G80 is the same as the Competition or Competizione, and nobody seems to know. There was one article on a BMW blog, the BMW blog, that said that the G80 was the last hurrah for the M30 Competition. So it's apparently like the last version of it. But if you go to BMWUSA.com, they're only selling them as competitions, not G80s. So I can just sort of tell you what I know. I know that the G80 version is pretty darn powerful. It comes with turbocharged engine, straight 6 3.0, that makes 503 horsepower in a small car, 650 newton meters of torque. It's got a 8-speed auto, all-wheel drive is available, and its 0 to 60 is in 3.9 seconds. It's fairly expensive, and I think you'd want to pay around $90,000 plus for that. And that's without the carbon. Comes with racing seats if you want them. But again, 503 horsepower. That's pretty freaking awesome. And the reason I think the Competition is probably different is when I go to BMW-M.com, the M series website, it says the Competition has 480 horsepower, twin turbo. So apparently the regular M3 Competition is 480 horsepower, and this G80 is 503. That's as near as I can get from the different websites. most of which mention one car but not the other. And the M3 Competition Oni is 4.2 seconds, 0 to 60. So I guess if you can get the last version, the G80, that's even better. The Isle of Man green color is great. When I saw it on Schmee's show, I said, God, I love green cars. They're so hard to get. And I just wanted this one in diecast style. And we'll move on next. The next two cars I don't need to say too much about because they're long established models. But in the diecast form, these are new to me. The first one is the Hot Wheels Mercedes 1955 Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing, the famous Gullwing, and the Redline Club, or RLC, offered this to members of the Hot Wheels Club, and you can see it does really have Redline tires. This is a super premium Hot Wheels, doesn't get better than that. And I gotta tell you, I only paid about $50 for this one. I've seen them for sale for well over $100. This is the chrome one. Again, chrome cars are hard to photograph because they reflect everything around them. But it also comes in a beautiful green, which seems to be more rare and expensive. Maybe I can get both sometime. But again, I got financial limitations like most of us collectors, so I gotta kind of pick and choose. I can't buy everything in every color nowadays. There was a time when you could collect all the colors of everything, and I know some of you can, but anyway, this is beautiful polished metal chrome. I am disappointed by the interior. The interior doesn't have a lot of detail or multicolor aspect that I would like it to have, but the exterior just has Mercedes badges and details and decals and very fine work on it. It's really beautiful. The doors really do move. It's one of the most beautiful Hot Wheels Mercedes I have ever seen, and it's worth finding out. And intentionally, to the right of it, I put the chrome Majorette SLR AMG GT, which we've talked about in the previous video. And I just wanted to put the two chrome cars together for comparison. One the old style 55 and one the newer style, let's say 90, something like that. But anyway, and I hope you guys still like my format here. I want to keep it a while. It's basically a train builder's cobblestone mat. It's supposed to look like cobblestone, and then my beautiful gold-plated gates. And then behind it, one of the Sheila's brand houses, which are beautiful three-dimensional handcrafted wood houses. Again, the houses are not expensive. They're about $20-some. If you buy a bunch of them, you can probably get them for $15. The gate was like maybe close to $30 because it's really real wrought iron. And you gotta clang it together. And the mat, I think, was about $8. So I kind of hope you guys like that look. I'm trying to improve that, and I will change it up at some point. Our next car is the familiar Corvette C8, the 8th generation Corvette, and this is a Matchbox version, but it's the Super Chase. And I think about 3 months ago, somewhere in September, October, we heard about these and saw these. And there's a bunch of YouTubers that have them, but I have the car now. It's probably the best Matchbox Corvette in any year that I've seen. Look at that beautiful flag work on that. That's hard to do with a machine. They don't paint these by hand. They make these by machine. So look at those multicolors. But what impresses me the most are the wheels. Look at those beautiful wheels. Kind of a brushed aluminum type wheel. And the Super Chase car goes for, let's see, I think I paid $36. People are paying a lot higher than that, but I kind of waited a little bit and got one for $36. Oh, by the way, the Redline Mercedes was around $50. but I've seen them a lot higher in the 70s and 80s. So these are some fairly premium type examples. But again, I wanted to share these. Now the Super Chase Matchbox is apparently a new series. They're basically the treasure hunt of the Matchbox world. Treasure Hunt is a trademark name of Hot Wheels, which owns Matchbox. Or is it vice versa? Yeah, no, Hot Wheels owns Matchbox. Mattel's the king. But anyway, the Super Chase we're looking forward to. They're probably not the same as the premium or world-class Matchbox of the past, because they come in the regular packs instead of expensive packaging. But they're certainly an upgraded car in a lot of respects. The one way you can tell this is not like the old Premier or world-class Matchboxes. Look at those mirrors in the rear spoiler and the interior. Not much going on there, but the rest of the car is just smashing and great thing to look at. Our next car is a real special one. I know a lot of you guys are collecting the Bugatti Divos, because Bugatti collecting is pretty hot since they're great cars. I've got a few of the Bugatti Divos, but I pre-ordered some time ago and got about a month ago this Mini GT Bugatti Vision GT, or Gran Turismo, which is an 8-liter car, and it's sort of like all the Bugattis on steroids. That's not even right. It's like the best of the Bugattis. It makes a Divo look pretty strange. And it's got that shark fin, like the Lamborghini Venano. And it's really, in real life, a really expensive and over-the-top car. Even for Bugatti, it's an over-the-top car. And again, like I say, we're going to talk a little bit about the real car. At the time, they only made one of them, and that was for the 2015 Frankfurt Motor Show. And at the time, they estimated it would cost between $5 and $18 million. I guess they're not saying. The research that I've done says that only 2 people have gotten them. One was Prince Badr bin Saud, the infamous Prince of Saudi Arabia, through a secret bid, who also got a matching Bugatti Chiron. And that car was subsequently sold to Hezi Shakad, the chairman and CSO of Tilly's. Okay, there was only one car made, and it had 2 owners. And it was one of those cars that was sort of half designed for the game Grand Theft Auto and Gran Turismo game. I don't know a lot about these concept fantasy cars in games, but some of you could maybe fill us in on the comments, because some of those cars never really get built. This one, there was one of them, and like all Bugattis that are one of a kind, and there are several of those, we don't know anywhere in that $5 to $18 million range what was paid on it. It is based on a Chiron. Let's see here. Let me get a few details of it. It's got an 8.0 liter quad or 4 turbocharged W16 engine. That's 16 cylinders, my friend. And they've never calculated the top speed, but it's estimated in the simulators to be about 278 miles an hour. Again, with all that extra aero stuff on it, it's not going to beat the Bugatti record over 300 miles an hour. You got to take most of that stuff off of those cars to make a world record. You'd think the aero would help get the speed up, but no. A lot of times, cars with lots of spoilers and lots of stuff like that slow the car down. It's got a 7-speed dual clutch, and it's all-wheel drive. Let's see here. And this one prototype uses Bugatti Chiron chassis number 6, but they've added all this carbon fiber and stuff around it. Again, the shark fin, copying Lamborghini perhaps, but a lot of these new supercars are developing that shark fin that runs from the roof to the rear spoiler. And somebody just pointed out on one reference here that a set of tires for these and the other Chirons are $93,000. Yes. Yes, a Mercedes AMG costs about as much as the tires for this car. So that's a whole different world of collecting and wealth. But obviously these very rich men and women, can do that somewhat with ease. But this is a great car for any supercar collector and diecast. And certainly with Bugatti, I got it next to my Divos, and it makes them look, well, kind of like Ford Focuses in comparison. Been long-winded enough, so I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe to this channel. I'm going to try to post Hypercar Mountain stuff weekly. That's going to be a challenge with my job, but I'm going to try to honor that. So thank you for all subscribing and being patient with me.
Hypercar Mountain.